nights, that's why all my life I've been grinding all my life, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle pay the price, want a slice, roll the dice, that's why all my life I've been grinding all my life.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Grind, where my goal is to highlight our Pasifika athletes and share their stories of how they got to where they are now. Today, we have a legend with us. I am very grateful that he is here on my show. He was the first Pasifika athlete to be drafted into the NBA. He played college basketball at San Jose State, where he scored 1,432 points during his college career. He was drafted by the San Diego Clippers in the 1980 draft, played overseas in Italy, New Zealand, and the Philippines. It is my honor to introduce Wally Rank.
How you doing, Fina?
I'm doing well, Wally. How are you doing?
Thank you for the opportunity to come on the show.
No, of course. Like I said, it's an honor to have you here, and I'm super grateful. But what are you up to? What are you up to these days?
Well, I retired from the LA County Office of Education. I used to work with at-risk youth, gang kids, basically. Mm-hmm. And retired, and after I retired for a year, I got bored, so I end up I do real estate now.
Oh, nice. How is that? How is that going for you?
It's kind of crazy with COVID-19 because you have to be careful where you take your clients to, because basically you're depending on people that are selling their house to make sure the house is clean, and if they don't, it's just a lot of things that you have to worry about.
Oh, wow. No, well, that's so awesome, to hear that you're in real estate. But, I'm so excited to talk about your story. With all the research that I did, there wasn't a lot. And so like I said, I'm so excited to dive into it. But let's rewind and, go back to when you're a little kid. I know you attended Carson High School, but you were born in Fort Ord. I'm curious, how did you end up at Carson?
Well, my mom and dad came down here and with my grandpa, and they came down to Carson. My grandpa picked out the house, and they bought it here and ended up going to elementary, Dolores Street Elementary, Stephen and White, then went to Carson High School.
And when did you start playing basketball?
I played as a young. I got 7 brothers and 2 sisters. So most of the Samoans were playing football at the time. Mm-hmm. And I used to go to Scott Park, and they used to have a guy there called James Forcia who used to run it. So a lot of the Samoan parents would feel safe that the kids could go there. So I used to go there all the time with my uncle Palaki. My uncle Palaki is probably the most influential person as far as playing basketball. We used to go there, and my uncle Plaki's handicapped. So one of his legs probably 40%, the other leg's probably 75%. But we would walk to the park, which was like maybe a mile and a half away from where we live, with my uncle Plaki, because my mom wouldn't let us go by herself when we were small. But we would go to the gym, and he loved basketball. He loved the Lakers. So he would go in there and shoot all day. He'd shoot for a couple hours, which when I was young, I used to say, man, if my Uncle Pocky can play for 2 hours, I should be able to play and never get tired. Mm-hmm. So I would go with him all the time. And my other brothers would go out in the football field, but I would go in the gym with my uncle and end up falling in love with the game.
When did you know you wanted to take basketball to the next level?
I don't think I ever thought that far ahead. My thing was, and it's something, I don't know if it's born inside of you, but I always wanted to be the best player. It doesn't matter where I was at, I wanted to be the best player. So I would just practice hours on end. And, people are like, man, he got good. I think they think that you just wake up and you're better. And it doesn't work like that, man. You got to put in the hours. Mm-hmm. And most of them hours, nobody's around. And you got to grind to get the glory, right? Yeah. you can't do one or the other, you know. So it was a lot of hours at Scott Park where I practiced a lot because they had an indoor gym.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I went there and I ended up working for James, and he gave me a key to the gym when I got a little older. So I used to go there. James would know, but I would go there when the park was closed. I'd go there from 4 o'clock to about 10 o'clock at night, just be in the gym by myself, take my boom box and just shoot. You know, they had like 6 courts. So I would I try to make 300 shots, you know, jump shot and then make a layup, jump shot, make a layup. And I would do different, you know, 2 dribbles to the left, shoot, 2 dribbles to the right, shoot, 1 dribble, fake, shoot. So I would do all this in game speed. So it would be normal.
Yeah.
You know, so when it came to game, it was just normal. It wasn't nothing I was trying to do different. So that's one of the things that helped me a lot. I didn't practice. You know, now you see a lot of kids when they practice, they just take their time, dribble and shoot, and that doesn't work in the game. You know, especially if they're focusing on you. You know, so I put in the hours, and it happened to work out for me.
Yeah, no, it's happy. I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because this is what my show is about, Inside the Grind. You know, the grind that it takes to, you know, get drafted into the NBA, and we're definitely gonna touch on that more. But you know, I know for right now, for players to get exposure and to get recruited by colleges, there's travel ball. And you know, I'm not sure if you guys had that back in your time, you know, but how did, like, sorry, not to like say you're old, but I'm just saying.
No, I am old. Let's get that out the way, man. I'm old. So.
No, but it's like during.
I'm 62. Yeah. Man. I'm not young though.
No. 62 is the new 20. No.
Don't even go there. Do not lie. Do not lie.
Hey, you know what? Age ain't nothing but a number. You know, it's okay. It's okay. But I'm curious, like, how did you get the exposure from college coaches?
Well, they didn't really have AAA. I couldn't do no travel anyway because you would need money back then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So financially, most of the Polynesian people came here. They would usually come here, and then they'd have family from Samoa, Hawaii, move down here, live with them, stay in their house till they get settled. Then they move out. So I was playing around, and I guess people started noticing. So I got there was a thing called the Olympic Development League, and that was the only travel team that they had back then. They might have had more. I just didn't know about it. But I didn't really get to go to. I went to Bob Boyd's camp when I was young. I don't know how that happened. It must have been my high school coach paid for it, because I know that we didn't have the money to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so now you know what. So now was San Jose State the main school that was recruiting you, or like were other schools recruiting you?
Well, there's other schools recruiting me. It's just that San Jose State, I had family there on my grandma's side, the Ofi'ia side. So my auntie Langaki lived there, and I didn't want to stay in Carson. I didn't want to stay locally because I just thought I should get out, you know, be exposed to other things. So when I went to San Jose State, there was a Samoan guy there called Wilson Famina. He's a football player, and he actually is the one that took me out. We're the ones that went out when I went there, and he was the star of the school. I think he got drafted like 5th in the NFL pick in the draft. He was a bad dude. So he was like, "Come on, man, you'll be the Samoan basketball player. I'm not really playing football. I need some brothers here with me." So I ended up going there. That was the reason why. And I didn't even go to the gym where San Jose State played. That's how nonchalant I took it. You know, I didn't have anybody that played basketball that was small that I can ask, how does that work?
Yeah.
Everyone played football, you know. So when I went there, I hung out with Wilson Famina, and he was one of the influence for me to go there, but my family was the main reason because I wanted to be around some of my family.
No, yeah, that's amazing, and it's important. Like, yeah, for you to say that you wanted to get out of Carson, you know, that's great. And so how was your, you know, now you're at San Jose State. How was that time? How was your time there, you know, while playing?
Well, you know, when people hear I got, you know, voted into the San Jose State Hall of Fame, right? And that was like 8 years ago. But when people hear that, they assume that everything was great at San Jose State. And it wasn't that. They had a coach there. My coach was Ivan Guevara. And, you know, I don't think he knew what he was getting when I decided to go there. Mm-hmm. Because at that time I was athletic, 6'5", run, jump. Yeah. And, you know, I wasn't really afraid. You know, most Samoans don't have that fear factor into them. So, you know, when I went there, I think they were a little shocked because there was a senior there that started there, and he was from this area, Orange County, and he was what I call a fundamental player. Yeah. And when you hear fundamental player, that means they're not athletic, right? you know what that's.
Oh yeah,
you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, you know, in practice, you know, to be honest, I was killing them in practice. So our first game when we played against the Republic of China, and I was a freshman. We played at a high school gym, which I didn't even know that when I went there. There was a gym called Independence High School in San Jose, and that's where San Jose State basketball played their games.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we went to the game. We played the Republic of China. They had a 7-foot center, a Japanese guy. So I thought I was going to start, didn't start, and didn't really play. Put me in the second half. I ended up getting 26 points, and I got a dunk on that center. So the next day it was all freshman sensation, you know, at San Jose State, and I think that was important because if I didn't do good that game, I probably might not have played that much because I just think, you know, we didn't really get along too well because my thing is I just wanted to play, you know, and if I earned the spot to play, then I should play, you know, because there were times when, you know, I started my freshman year, and there were times when we go to cities that were down here close by Orange County, and our coach would say, I'm going to let this person start because his family's here, you know, and I was looking like, come on, man, you know, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say, you know, so my freshman year I started, I think I was second leading scorer on the team, and it was crazy because we went to the PC2A that year, right? Because PC2A is the tournament at the end where all the teams can play. And then whoever wins automatically gets to bid to the NC2As.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's how it works. So if you play there and you win, you automatically get a bid. But my freshman year, my coach put me into a scrimmage game where I played over the legal amount of games to play. So I actually couldn't go play in the PC2A tournament. I wasn't allowed to play. So the guy that I took his spot, you know, he ended up going, and he had a good game, had like 30 points. And he ended up making all league that year, which, you know, if you don't start on the team, you shouldn't be making all league. But, you know, I'm saying all this it's not bitterness. It's just to let people see that it's not always perfect when you go. Because people, when I went to the Hall of Fame, I didn't say anything discouraging. I just said, you know what? Hey, thank you. It was a great time, and I thanked, you know, my coaches and, took the award.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think because, my sophomore, junior, senior year made all league. Led the team in scoring for 3 leagues for 3 years. But it wasn't because I had such a great relationship. It's just that once the schools seen that I could play, it was hard for the coach to put me on the bench, because if we're losing, the press is asking, well, how come you don't put the freshman guy in? He had 26 points, So it was good. If I didn't have that good game the first game, I don't know how if I would have ever made it, because I could have quit. He could have set me on the bench. So there was a lot of things that were involved that I think it could have went either way. I just happened to get fortunate enough to have a good game the first game I was put in.
No, I mean, thank you for telling us that, and because, like you said, like the road, it's not all butterflies, and it's not all of that. No, it's you have to you were throughout that process, you were resilient. You were just you're working hard, and I'm curious as to playing college basketball as well. How was the culture within San Jose State? Within your team.
Well, I think you're only as good as the people on top, right? The coaches, they're the ones that set the atmosphere up. They're the ones that set the culture up. If you have practices where people don't practice hard and nobody's doing anything about it, that's going to be the culture.
Yeah,
I think you have to set your own standard of how you're gonna present yourself. So as an athlete, I always wanted to be good. It wasn't that some days I just want to kick back and I don't care if we lose. I always wanted to win.
Yeah.
So that culture should be in every player. And if it's not, it's up to the coaches to make that happen, right? I can only do so much as far as say, come on, let's practice a little bit harder. So I think the culture was all right, but it could have been a lot better, because the same team that I started with my freshman year, my freshman year, it was the best record that San Jose State had. We ended up being 19 and 8, something like that. But that was San Jose State's best record.
Wow.
My freshman year.
Yeah.
Then my sophomore, losing record. Junior, losing record. Senior year, we went to the NC2As. So it's the same team. It's just that my senior year, we had a different coach, which that coach didn't play. He was serious. He was from Michigan State. He was assistant to Judge Heathcote, which Magic and them guys came from.
Oh, wow.
So his standard was different from other coaches.
Yeah, and I mean, you prove a great point. It starts with the coaches to implement that culture within the team. But I think in order to sustain the culture, it's up to the players to keep building it. So how were you? I'm just curious. How were you as a leader when you in practices when you didn't see your players going hard enough? Were you that player were you that leader to call them out, to say something?
Well, to be honest, I think I led most by my actions, and I don't want to say that players didn't put out. I just think that they did what they knew, right? So me being from the streets of Carson, LA, I was, I go 100%. I don't play. So when you play against me, you're gonna have a good game.
Yeah.
But if that's not the culture that you're brought in, if you didn't get brought up in that culture, it's hard for you to change once you get to college. And it will expose you. That's one thing good about sports. It will expose if you got it. If you don't got it, it will expose it. If you do got it, it will expose it. So, nothing against the players. I think everybody did as best as they could. But San Jose State wasn't a basketball school.
Yeah.
So some of the players they were getting, might not have been as good as other schools.
Yeah. So now it's the end of your senior season at San Jose. What were your thoughts on what was next for you?
Well, we got Coach Barry my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry and my relationship is a lot different from Guevara's 3 years prior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Barry was no nonsense, man. We practiced. If you didn't practice hard, he'd kick you out. This was a guy that did not play, but I didn't mind that because I practiced hard. So that's normal for me.
Yeah.
So he even kicked me out a couple of times because if you give him a side look, like if he tells you something, you roll your eyes, get out of here. And then after practice, he'll meet with you, Wally. I need you have to make sure that you represent yourself as the captain of the team because everybody has to look up to you, and I have to make sure that what you do, everybody else does. So I didn't mind that. Once I figured him out, I was good, and he would get pissed off, and he's like, I don't care who gets the ball, but look for Wally. So I was like, yeah, I like that.
But no, so I'm curious, as a player, what was your go-to move? Were you a backup player? Were you like face up, take it to the rim? What were you both? I'm just, talking basketball now. So
I think one thing good, and this, Fina, when you're a good player, you have to have an assortment of moves. You can't just have one move.
Yeah.
Unless you're Jabbar, unless you got the sky hook.
Yeah.
Nobody else can have it. So I was good at going left. I was good at going right. I can shoot the jump shot, and I was strong on the inside. So it would be difficult to guard, but that's what you need to have all that in order to be good. Because you figure, my sophomore year, junior, senior, I led the team in scoring. Every college that plays you, they know that. They say, okay, who's their leading scorer? Wally rank. Well, this is what he does. He goes to the baseline on the right, make him go right, and you can stop him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the scouting report was, but I never worried about the guy in front of me. I always worried about the second and third guy that was coming off to help out.
That's what you got to do. You got to look at the help defense that you got to look at.
The guy in front of me, that wasn't the issue, man. And if he was, then you're not as good as you're supposed to be. Right.
Yeah, no, that's true. Wow, no, that's a great point. Wow, this is great. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, I think I try to tell my boys, you have to I think a lot of times they show the people dribbling 20 times, and it's like you don't need to dribble 20. You can take one dribble and shoot. And if it's just a different mentality. I see now, man, where I watch some of the NBA and the guy dribbles like 20 times, and I'm like, man, this is not sandlot ball, But that's just my opinion.
I'm happy you say that, because one of my questions was like, what are your thoughts on when you played, like the type of basketball you played to now how it is, pretty much shooting threes and like you said, like dribbling everywhere. But like, what are your thoughts?
The way we play basketball, you had to be strong and tough because they fouled you, they hand checked you, they did all the stuff that they can't do now. So I think that I like the way we played back in the days. Yeah. That's just my opinion. I like it when people can bump you, because then you're allowed to bump them back. I just think nowadays it's different. Not saying it's better, it's just different.
Yeah.
And I think back in our days, it was more set on what a player is supposed to be. In other words, when I got drafted and made it, I was a power forward, and I was 6'6".
Yep.
And see, if you go back, most of the power forwards are 6'9" back then. You know, that's just the way. That's the way the NBA teams were looked at. You know, have a center, 6'9" power forward, 6'7" small forward. You know, so it was tough for me because of my size of playing power forward. But you know, at college level, I could play it. You know, and to be honest, I probably could play it in the NBA. But the thing is, when you're not the number one and number two draft, sometimes they don't really look as hard as they would look at somebody in the first or second round. You know. Yeah.
So well now take us back to when 1980 when you were drafted by the San Diego Clippers. How paint a picture for us. How was that for you? How was that moment for you?
Well, to be honest, I was at my grandma's house in Wilmington. None of my brothers and sisters were there. I was there because my coach said you need to be home at them hours. I don't even know if they had a draft where it was on TV, but didn't watch it. You know, so I was at my grandpa and grandma's house, and I think I was the only one there. You know, so just hanging out with my grandpa and grandma. Phone rings. And they don't answer the phone, my grandpa and grandma, because they speak Samoan, right? So anytime the phone rings, one of us pick it up. So I go pick it up, and they say, "Hey, Wally, this is Paul Silas from the San Diego Clippers." I say, "How you doing, Coach?" And then he says, "You've been drafted," and they tell you, "Congratulations." But there was like no party set up. I didn't have like people all around waiting for it to happen. You know, I'm like, so it's funny when people say, "Hey, how was the draft, man?" None of my brothers and sisters were even home. You know, they were all because they were all at our house. I had to go there because I think that's where they had the phone at my grandma and grandpa's house. So that's what happened.
Oh wow, no. So, but now being with the San Diego Clippers. Playing with guys like Freeman Williams, Phil Smith and Swin Nader, Swin Nader, such amazing guys. How was that experience playing with guys like them?
Well, I remember, Kobe's dad was on the team too.
Joe Bryant. Joe Bryant. Yeah. Joe, yes.
And so Jelly Bean was there, and they had a guy called Sidney Wicks.
Okay.
And Sidney Wicks he was a bad boy. He went to UCLA. They won the NC2A, and he was the Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. And he was a guy that talked to me and helped me out. They had Henry Bibby that went there, and so it was good. It was tough on the when you trial for the team because basically we had like 19 guys right at camp. Well, there's only 2 spots, because Michael Brooks was the number 1 pick for them. Okay. He was a John Wooden Player of the Year that year, and they had all kinds of guys that were there from other schools, and so it was tough. So because what happens when you go out and you start doing good, the other players don't want to pass you the ball because. I understand, logically you understand why, because they're not there to make you look good. Yeah. They want to look at themselves. Yeah. So it's tough, but, you just do the best that you can and hopefully you'll get chosen.
Mm-hmm. And, just would you say that, not like were the standards different in terms like of how they work in college, meaning like my question, like it's like so when you get to the NBA, is like the culture the same? Like, is it like are people on each other? Like, is it because I feel that I don't know because of college, like I don't know. I feel that it's different compared to the NBA because they got there. So like I don't know. I'm trying to ask is, would you say like the standards were the same when you were in the NBA to when you're in college? How the players were they like hold each other accountable? As does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the professionals is different because you're expected to be a professional. You're expected to work hard. You're expected to be on time. this is not college where you can be late 10 minutes and sorry, coach, I forgot to get my shoes. So I like the professional culture. You got to come in there and take care of business. And if you don't, it's a business. That's what you learn real fast. It's the business.
Mm-hmm. And one, I love basketball and I love the Lakers, and going up against them and seeing them in action, like the Magic, like Kareem and Michael Cooper, how was that experience?
Well, me being from LA, I see so many ball players, man. I mean, guys that jump out the gym, guys that can handle the ball, guys that can do 10 million different things. But to be honest with you, when I see Magic Johnson, that's something I never seen, because he was 6'9" and handling the ball like a small guy, and just has some crazy peripheral vision, man. So I kind of marveled at that, because I've never seen that. I've seen guys that are good guards, but they're 6'3", 6'4", but 6'9", no. And Kareem, come on, man. To me, he is probably the GOAT. When you look at the stats. The guy won 3 MVPs in college. He got the College Player of the Year 3 years in a row. They won 3 years in a row. He lost 1 game in high school, got 6 MVPs. I think because he's 7'1", they don't give him the credit, but you can't do anything with that, Once in a while, Fina, you probably know, there's probably a couple plays that you've seen that you say, wow, man, this girl can ball. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. No. And I'll never forget that. I was actually I played my first year of college ball at Virginia Tech. Yeah. And I when we played at Syracuse, this girl could jump. And I was like, I'll never forget that. I was like, dang, like that was the moment where I was like, dang, I've never seen that before. But she was like, it looked like, I don't know, it looked like she could dunk, but yeah, she could jump. She was just so athletic.
When I was a freshman, just to show you, and this is good for me. I was a freshman, and I was starting. We went to play against Wyoming or something. Wyoming, and they said, okay, you're gonna play this guy. He's probably the best college player and one of the best college players in the nation. And I'm like, shit, he ain't better than me, But I'll show him. And his name was Michael Ray Richardson.
Okay.
Michael Ray Richardson, man, he was about a 6'6" guard, and man, he was schooling me. He ended up getting like 38 points. And after the game, I said, hey, man, good game, bro. But that kind of stuff teaches you, it humbles you, that you think you're bad. You say, okay, yeah, there's guys out there that's better than you. You better keep on practicing.
Yeah.
And Michael Ray Richardson ended up making, I think, Hall of Fame, and he's a bad boy. He started for the New York Knicks.
Wow.
And but it's just the idea that I thought, because he went to Wyoming, that wow, I'm going to go there and kick his butt. He kicked my butt, So it was a good learning lesson that don't think because you don't know somebody, their name, that they ain't out there.
Yeah, you kind of underestimate.
Because he didn't come from USF or he didn't come from UCLA. I'm like, Michael Ray Richardson. Like, come on, man. He kicked my butt, man. And he had his hair part in the middle. He was crazy. He had a small fro. He parted in the middle. I was like, oh, who's that? That's it? Oh, I got him. Don't worry about that.
Oh.
And he came in. He was schooling me. I was like, oh.
No, well, just one story. So I was at Cal State Northridge, and we go to Idaho. We play against Idaho. We're like, a bunch of, Halangi girls. We're like, man, we got this. But no, they kicked our butt. Like, they could shoot the ball. We're like, damn. No, they shot us out the gym, We're like, no, we got our asses handed to us. We're like,
hey, man, that's what happened. It makes you. It will expose you, like I said. It will expose you if you ain't that damn good.
I know. But now, so you know, you played overseas. You know, what are you able to, you know, go into what year this was when you first went overseas, and just how your experience was with that?
Well, I went to play in Italy because after I was let go by the Clippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I didn't really like about that, they never gave me a shot to come to camp. They had a new owner, and Don Sterling came and bought the team, and they moved to LA the next year. And usually, you know, people that are on the team, they usually invite them to come back to camp, and then you lose it. You know, if you're no good, you lose it. But they didn't go that route. They just told me that I was let go. So I said, okay. So I went over to Italy. I liked Italy. It's a beautiful place, and it makes you. They had a lot of what do you call it, clothing fashion out there. So I thought I was all Mr. Style. I was wearing leather pants, and they were like, "What the hell's wrong with you, man?" So, but I liked it. I liked overseas. I liked playing over there in New Zealand because there were a lot of Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
But it's just you know, the competition. They didn't have as good a competition. You know that because you know, I tell people, you know, if you know, if you play on the island, let's say Hawaii, right? Mm-hmm. You play on the island, you're probably only as good as the people that you play against. So if nobody challenged you to become a lot better, you know, you come out to the city where these guys play 24/7.
Yeah, the US, yeah.
Yeah, that you know, you get you get exposed. It's different from, you know, LA, from Wyoming, you know.
Yeah.
You know how to shoot in Wyoming, but that's probably the best only thing you could do is shoot.
Exactly. But David, it's like if all the players could shoot, like you know,
they set that screen, you're done.
Exactly. You know, and it's oh man, I will just never get that. Oh my gosh. But no, it was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. But yeah, it humbled us. But, you know, I know this was just, you know, a small amount of time that you did have your experience playing with the Lakers. Are you just able to just dive in a little bit about that and just how that, you know, experience was for you?
Well, I remember it. I came back in the summer league, right? And I think I led the league in scoring that year, right? Mm-hmm. The summer league. So the last game, I remember going to the locker room, and Jerry West walks in. And everybody knows who Jerry West is. Oh, yeah. So we're sitting there in the locker room. Jerry West walks in. He comes sit by me. He goes, "Wally, my name is Jerry West." I said, "Hey, nice to meet you, man." And he's like, "You know, I think you'd be a good fit with us. Could you come to my office? You know, at the Forum?" I said, "Sure." So when I went to the Forum, you know, I didn't have no agent. I just went by myself. I walk in, he goes out and looks at, "Where's the agent?" And I go, "I'm just by myself." No. Boy, this kid don't know anything. So I talked to him, and you know what? He was telling me the reason why he thought that I can be on the team. And that's a big honor, you know, for a guy like Jerry West, you know, to say, "Hey, you can play." You know, that's a lot better when a player tells you can play than a sports analyst tells you that, right?
Yeah.
So I think I went out for the team, and this guy's honest truth. I ended up at the Laker camp. I kind of got in a little fight, and the next day I was let go because I was guarding Jamal Wilkes, and man, Wilkes, he can run all day, man. I mean, I've never met a guy, because I was in good shape. That's one thing, I can run all day, man. But this guy, he didn't get tired, man. And it kind of threw me off, right?
Yeah.
But we were playing, and I screened him out, Wilkes, right? And he came over my back, and I don't know if he did something, but I turned around and pushed him, and then all of a sudden, of course, everyone's they're stopping me. It wasn't no big crazy stuff, but I think Riley did not like that because Riley was the coach at that time, right?
Is this Pat Riley?
Yeah, Pat Riley. So next day he called me in his room and he said, Wally, we're gonna let you go. I thank you. I mean, he was cool and everything,
mm-hmm.
but it's something that no matter what would have happened, anytime someone did something that tried to play dirty on me, the same reaction would have happened. That's just the way it is. I can't change my reactions. Because when I used to go to different parks, because I used to scout park, but then I needed to find better competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to Rogers Park in Inglewood and all these different parks where it's all Maulis, right? It's all African American, right?
Yeah.
And man, when you go in there and you're the only non-African American, they all want to try to clown you. They all want to try to bully. They used to think I was Mexican. I got the Mexican.
Oh.
I got the Mexican.
Wait, hold on. What would you say if they're like, "Oh, I got the Mexican"? Would you say?
I didn't say much. My thing is this: I played, but if you found me stupid, I would warn you. I said, "You found me like that again, I'm gonna knock you out." I give them a warning. So I think the people in the gym, they were probably saying, "Who is this guy coming in here thinking he can?" Either you're gonna have to take care of that, or every time you come in, you're gonna get bullied.
Yeah, they're gonna punk
right?
you.
Every time you come in. So there's a couple. I was known to fight, not because I like to fight, because I had to fight. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to play in the gyms. Everybody will punk me. Everyone that came in there. So, in order to stop them from thinking I was from Mexico, I wore my Ia Lava Lava to the gym. And they're like, "Man, hey, are you Hawaiian?" I said, "Aloha." Because they didn't know what Samoans were. So, but it was tough playing in them gyms because, like I said, I was probably the only non-African American in the gym 95% of the time. It'd be all African Americans, and I'd walk in, and it got to the point where players that knew me, they would warn the other guy because the other guy wouldn't know who I was, right?
Yeah.
So I play, and the guy found me and said, "Hey, man, you got to quit fouling." And of course, the guy's like, "Man, who the hell you think you are? You don't tell me how to,
Yeah.
So my teammates will say, "Hey, man, you better quit fouling that dude. He's not gonna back down, man." So sure enough, after a couple of times of that, everything was square. People knew. People go, "There's this Samoan guy comes in here, man. He doesn't play." So it was good. That's how you grow up.
No, definitely. So my show, you touched on it earlier. My show is called Inside the Grind, and I just want to help, give a blueprint to whoever wants to be the next Wally, the next Juju Smith, and so it's because like nobody showed you, like you didn't have a blueprint, you didn't have a blueprint. So Wally, like I want you like to tell us like just your process and your grind it take to get to the NBA, and just be the best, and so are you just able to, just break down, and tell us how important the process and the grind is, to be the best that you can be?
Well, I think, I would do stuff, like Carson and Banning, they were rivals, right? So whenever Carson and Banning played like a football game, I won't go to the game. I go to the gym because I knew everybody would be at the game. Nobody would be practicing, right? I already knew that because that's a big thing, so it's something that's ingrained, that's inside of you. Because man, I used to be at that gym. I go there on Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, don't come back to 10 at night. And you know, you play, you goof around, you go back and play, you goof around. But it got to the point, once I figured out that I wanted to be good, my whole focus when I wasn't around was playing basketball. That was my thing. You know, and it's different then. We live right across the street from Carson High School. My parents never went to a game, you know, because that wasn't how it was back then.
Yeah.
You know, my mom wouldn't even know I have games till I came home, you know, because I said, Mom, I won't be home till 8. And so I come home. And why do you come home at 8 o'clock? So I had a game tonight. Oh, okay. You know, so that I think I liked it like that, where, you know, it wasn't, you know, now I see everybody put every kid on Facebook, every little thing they do. And I think that, you know, it exposes a kid to think that that's all they care about is your sporting, you know, how good you play sports. And, you know, our coaches, we don't talk or brag, man. That's not the Samoan way, right?
Oh yeah, humble.
And that's why I think most of the athletes, even including myself, we don't really speak. The only reason I spoke in Washington is my nephew, who I raised, right? He has 3 kids that I end up help raising, even to this day, right?
Yeah.
They lived in Washington. So when they called me, I said, hey, how close are you guys to Linwood? Because I think that's where they lived, in Linwood, Washington. Oh, we're like 20 minutes away. I said, okay, I'll come speak. I don't think the school knew exactly why I went there, because it was the first time I actually said yes, because people have asked me before, and I said, I think because sports is not our life, man. You know, I hear a lot of people, basketball is my whole life. That's not my life. My family is my life, man. This is just a game, you know, and that's how I look at it, you know. But now, since young people like yourself, and I remember, I didn't even know you, but I remember seeing, I told you this on Facebook, that you had your own show, and I liked it. I pressed the like, and I didn't know you was. I was like, that's good. They got a girl that's going to be a lady, young lady that's going to have her own sports show. Cool, you know. But I think that you know, a lot of us that played Frank Mauna and Terry Tato don't really go out and speak because it wasn't our life, man. That wasn't the most important thing to us, you know. But now I do think it's important for people to try to get because I didn't have nobody to talk about with basketball, you know. So it is good if somebody is interested in basketball, but basketball is a different game for Samoans, man. That's why not too many play, because they don't want to get in that shape. Yeah. They don't want. You know what I'm talking about, Fina.
I know. Because Lord, that was the worst. That was the last thing I wanted to do was run. You know, because when we got in trouble, my coach would be like, "Put 35 on the clock, suicide." Oh my gosh, it's for real. Like the conditioning, we had to go to the track when we got in trouble. I was like, how? You know.
But that's why you don't see too many Samoans playing basketball, because it's a different kind of shape, man. I mean, you got to run. Football's perfect. They get to go in there, they hit, they rest for 20 seconds, they get to line up, they hit again, they rest. Basketball is just boom, 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 boom,
keep
boom.
going.
Yeah, there's no rest, man. You know, so, you know, that's why people say, oh, I wonder why a lot of people, Samoans don't play basketball. It's a lot of, it's stuff that we're not used to. We're not used to getting in that kind of shape where you stay small, because you can't be, 290 pounds trying to play basketball, you know. So it's a different endurance. You know, I seen Peyton play. You know, you spoke with Peyton. Yeah. And you know, I was happy because it's good to get us. I didn't know his dad knew me, because his dad sent me some on Facebook, on Messenger, and said he grew up in Carson. And I was like, man, but you know, it was good to see him out there. I think they got another Samoan playing, James Jones or something, right?
James Johnson.
Yeah, James Johnson. Who's he play for?
He plays for the Mavs. He plays for the Mavericks. Okay.
Yeah, you know, he's off Kasi. I think he's half Huli. Yeah. So, you know, it's rare you see. I mean, even now, I don't know any Samoan guy playing basketball.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of sport.
Yeah, no, it is. But I feel that what you hit on earlier was when you said that basketball, like sports, isn't your life.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
from my own experience playing in college, like it did become my life. But then my uncle told me, like, basketball, it's what you do. It's not who you are. And I
That's
feel
right.
that's an important message for people, because I feel like the beauty of sports, especially basketball, it teaches you life lessons so that after you graduate, you're able to, you have that discipline, you have that that commitment, sacrifice.
Yes. Yes.
So just thank you for hitting that on the head. So now speaking about Peyton Siva, James Johnson, seeing guys within our community, like they're Jason Campono or like Steven Adams. What is that? Seeing them get drafted and being within our community, what does that mean for you? Someone like who's a trailblazer, like you. What does that mean for you?
Well, I'm happy for anybody that makes it, man. I think whoever makes it put in the time, and I, who's that guy from Oklahoma that used to play for Oklahoma? Steven Adams.
Steven Adams. Yeah. He traded, but he got traded. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, more power to him. I went to New Zealand to visit one of my ex-teammates in college named Stan. I guess that center, Adams, he's pretty popular there.
Yeah.
And it's good, man, because most of the time it's all about football, man. That's because we're great at it.
Yeah.
But the community that I grew up, man, there was it's amazing how many athletes came out there to make it pro. I mean, one of my classmates I grew up with over there named Samoa, he played in the Super Bowl. Guy that was a friend of mine that went to Carson, played for the 49ers. I mean, there was a lot of guys that came from the area that ended up making it because I don't know what the odds are of making it, especially, in the NBA, it's like one out of every, I don't have any idea, but it's harder to be an NBA player than to be an NBA owner. There's more multimillionaires than there are players. So it's good when I see. I hope more, because eventually there's going to be a girl that comes out that's going to be bad as hell. She's going to be Samoan. Everyone's going to know who she is. So I think, I mean, it didn't take long for our people to be standouts in any sport. I mean, look, we got Fina over there playing golf. I mean, we got we got people playing baseball. We got people playing football. They have a lot of talent in our Polynesian culture.
Yeah,
and I think all of them need to be recognized, man, because we come from a small little island, man. It's not like we come from where there's 2 million people, man. It's like 40,000 people, 60,000 people in Samoa, man. For that small little island to bring people that can get to the ultimate, I mean, look at The Rock, man.
I know, and it's just amazing. And there's another guy I also interviewed. His name is Jeremy Dodson, and he actually he's a sprinter. He represented Samoa. He's a 2-time Olympian and represented Samoa at the Olympics. So yeah, and it's like our people, like our community, it's just, we're phenomenal. We're amazing. In sports, and I'm just so happy to be able to highlight it. But what, if you didn't have basketball, in your life, what do you think you'd be doing?
Well, I think I'd probably be doing something helping the community. Because when I left them, when I quit playing ball, I ended up working with at-risk kids, right? And retired from that. My wife, she's the CEO of Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah,
so there, I think it's from our culture about giving.
Yep.
That's something that I like about it. I know there's everybody. Well, I want to make. They want to make all the money they want to make. They want to drive the nice cars. And when you're young, you think that's important. But when you get older, you find out that's not important. If you have good family, if you have a place to live, you don't need 10 bedrooms and that's just my opinion. I think you're happy, and it doesn't have to really do about if you have $10 million.
Yeah, it's just about being grateful. For the small thing, like having your health. Having your
yes,
and having a roof over your head. And that's so important. And what would your message to people that want to be successful in their life, or want to be where you were at in your career, or even now? What was your message?
I think, and I try to tell you to the I told you about my nephew and nieces that I helped raise, right? I try to tell them you got to have good habits. You're going to have good habits and bad habits. Your good habits need to outnumber the bad habits, because when you have bad habits, it's okay when you're a kid. It's not okay when you become an adult. So if your bad habit is waking up late all the time, that's not going to work, because when you get a job, they're going to fire you if you don't come on time. So, if you start getting good habits, when you're young, you got to develop them. As far as, playing sports, it's just, it's an individual thing that you have to want. Because my mom dad didn't push me. They knew if they wanted to find me, I'll be in the gym. They didn't have to worry about where I was at. But that's the choice that I made. Other people decided to go party, and other people decided to go drink. That's not my deal. That's what they want to do. That's on them. But you don't get good by sitting around drinking and going to the mall and hanging out. You have to sacrifice so much in order to be good. If you want to be average, you don't have to sacrifice all that much, right? And my mom and dad brought us up where it was tough because we had such a big family, right? Then we had aunts and uncles coming in, moving in. So I decided when I was young that I wanted to get and I even asked God this. I said, I want, when I get old, I want $1 million house. That was all I asked for. So I can buy it for my mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was, I ended up getting a nice house, and my mom and dad moved in. So it actually worked out the way I asked it for. It's just that I didn't know back then, there's no way my mom and dad could live by themselves, man. How a small family is. That's not going to work, man. So it was good that they got to, live with me and relax their last years, but they can just not worry about nothing, go to bingo, go to church, and that's it. And they were happy, So that to me is my greatest accomplishment is to do that.
That's amazing. Thank you for saying that, because I feel the same way, with my parents. I want to, because they sacrificed so much for me growing up, for me to be where I'm at now. And so I just want to pay them back in any way. But, so we're in the home stretch, and I'd love to do some rapid fire questions. So anything, that comes off, first thing that comes to your mind. All right. First one, your favorite moment of your career.
I think my mom and dad came to watch one game of me in college. It was my last game. and they came, I think, just because it was my last game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was at the PCA tournament, right?
Okay.
So they came. We went to the finals. We won. I got MVP of the tournament, and they were there. So that was the biggest thing because my mom and dad was there. So that was my biggest moment.
Oh, that's amazing.
I didn't even know they were there till I came home. They told me they came to the game.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. The toughest player you went one-on-one with against in your career.
The what?
The toughest player you went against in your career that went one-on-one against, or
Bernard King.
Bernard
King. Oh man, he kicked my butt, man. His shot you couldn't time the shot. Most people 1, 2, but he'll get it one and he'll throw it up and you just sit there looking at him like, yeah. So yeah, to me, I remember that of him. He was a bad dude, man. There's a lot of guys. Marcus Johnson,
yeah.
Magic. You can go down the line. Everybody, somewhere or another, you're going to play against guys that are bad. And you remember them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The third one is if you could have dinner with 4 goats, 4 people. Anyway, it could be anyone. All you guys are all at a table drinking wine. Who would those 4 people be? It'd be 4 goats. Anyone.
Mom and dad, grandpa and grandma.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Fourth one. Who was the player you looked up to when you were growing up?
Well, it's kind of weird because we didn't really we didn't sit around watching games in our house because, as you know, our parents they ran the show. We didn't get to go put on the TV what channel we wanted to watch. Whatever they watched, that's what we watched.
Yeah.
So I think I remember Dr. J just because but. I don't think there's any players that you look up to. I think there's players you say, man, that guy can ball. But all my role models was from my family. That's where I get them all from. Basketball, love the game. There's some bad boys, but they weren't my role models.
Okay. No, thank you for that. The fifth one is, who is your all-time starting 5? All time.
Probably Magic. Point guard, Jordan, off guard, Jabbar, center.
Okay.
Karl Malone.
Karl at the 4?
At the 4, and maybe Scottie Pippen at the 3.
At the 3. Well, that's a good one. That's actually a great one. That's a great one. Okay, yeah. This is the 6th. This is the last one.
Okay.
What was the largest circumference of the Wally rink afro? I know you had an afro back.
It was humongous, man. I mean, it was about this big. I would say 18 inches. It had to be big, man. But yeah, I think, and because my name was Wally Rank and they seen the afro, a lot of people thought I was African American until they actually, seen close up and they see I had a lot of Samoan features. But I think just the hair was crazy. It was crazy.
No, thank you for that. And Wally, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on my show. I want to acknowledge and say how much of an honor it was having you. You are the trailblazer for our community to anyone who wants to pursue basketball, for someone like me who played college ball. And, I hope your story will inspire and give hope to anyone listening to this, show them that they can achieve anything they set their mind to by putting in the work, committing and dedicating themselves to becoming the best like they can be, and just trusting the process. Thank you all for tuning into Inside the Grind. Thank you so much, Wally.
Thank you, Fina.
Grinding on my life, sacrifice, hustle pay the price, one slice, got the roll of dice, that's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life, grinding all my life.